Hi everybody and welcome to English Digest. I'm Pat.
I'm Tom, and today we're going to Scotland, which is being described as the land of hill and glen. Yes, you've got hills there and you've got glens there as well. And as we talked about last time, we've got history there, we've got prehistoric ruins, and also we have got the highlands, and also we've got various lochs, including the big one, Loch Lomond, and Loch Ness, which is home of the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, we've been talking about Scotland's beautiful countryside. Now it's time to talk about the people who live in Scotland and some of the more famous things, or maybe the things you don't know about Scottish culture. We're going to introduce that to you in day 2 of this article, which we're going to read through right now.
Scotland's scenery may be stunning, but it's not the only thing that appeals to visitors. The country's cuisine includes a few dishes that can turn heads, such as deep-fried chocolate bars. Haggis, meanwhile, is famous not only for its ingredients, but also for the way in which it is cooked. It is comprised of sheep's heart, liver, and lungs, mixed with oatmeal and spices, and is traditionally boiled in a sheep's stomach. Another equally renowned item of Scottish culture is the kilt. This garment, a kind of skirt, is worn by Scottish men on formal occasions, as well as to show national pride at sporting events. It is usually worn with a sporran, a fur or leather pouch that serves in place of pockets, along with thick stockings and a ceremonial knife. The kilt has a tartan, or pattern of stripes that can identify which clan or other association the wearer belongs to. Walking around Edinburgh, Scotland's capital city, you might see a man in a kilt playing a kind of musical instrument that looks like an octopus and sounds like a band of singing cats. These are the great Highland bagpipes, and when played well, they can stir the hearts of even non-Scots with their battle tunes, rousing marches, and heartbreaking laments. The best time to be in Edinburgh is in the summer, during the Edinburgh International Festival. This collection of over 20 different art events celebrates everything from jazz music to books. It also includes the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, which draws street performers, actors, and comedians from all over the world. With all this and more to offer, it's no wonder Scotland is visited by millions of tourists every year.
Okay, guys, there we go. That is our little discourse on Scottish culture. Now, as we said in our introduction yesterday, we talked a lot about the scenery, and we did mention the fact that it is stunning. It's really amazing to look at. It's beautiful. It kind of takes your breath away, and it leaves you standing there just like, I'm stunned. I can't move or speak. So that's why we call it stunning, because it kind of renders you speechless and just makes you feel amazed. However, it is not the only thing that appeals to visitors. To appeal to somebody means it makes them like it. It makes them interested in it. It attracts visitors. So there's plenty more than just the scenery, although that is stunning in itself.
Stunning indeed, and again, it's not the only thing that is attractive to visitors or appeals to visitors. The country's cuisine includes a few dishes that can turn heads, such as deep-fried chocolate bars.
Now, oh my goodness, yes. That is an experience.
Really, you've had that
I've
before.
Eaten a deep-fried Mars bar, yes.
You have?
It's like oil and fat and sugar and hot all crammed in your mouth at once. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, but it's one that everybody should at least try.
Probably something you don't want to eat every day because of all the calories.
Not exactly the healthiest choice on the menu, no.
But if you're going there just once, check it out. Deep-fried chocolate bars. Usually, various kinds of foods are deep-fried, like French fries and fish fillets and things like that. And we're saying that this is a cuisine that can turn heads. First of all, let's talk about this word cuisine. cuisine here, which I believe is a French word, and we use it in English, of course, which talks about special food from a certain culture or from a country. Usually, it's kind of like the fancy food, not like the snacks.
Yeah, it is the kind of traditional meals and the traditional way of cooking of a particular country. So we can talk about Spanish cuisine, French cuisine. We mean all the kind of really nice dishes and classic dishes we think of. And this cuisine can turn heads. Now, to turn heads means it's like something goes along and you turn your head to look at it out of like, that is interesting. That is different. I want to give it more of my attention. And yeah, a deep-fried Mars bar would probably turn your head. You see that on your menu and you're like, what? What is this? I must find out more and try it. Now, it may turn your stomach as well as turn your head, but there you go.
Turn heads usually refers to something visual, like girls are always trying to find the perfect dress to turn heads, to get everybody to look at them as they walk by. So that's one example of Scottish cuisine, that deep-fried chocolate. Also, we've got something called haggis, which is famous not only for its ingredients, but also for the way in which it is cooked. So it's famous for two reasons. The first reason that it is famous is because of the ingredients. Okay, so here later on it says it is comprised of sheep's heart, liver, and lungs mixed with oatmeal and spices. Okay, well, sheep, what the heck? If you eat sheep steak or whatever you eat from a sheep, well, then why not have the heart? Why not have the liver? And why not have the lungs? But still, some people might think that's a set of unusual ingredients. So yes, indeed, it is comprised of those ingredients. To comprise of just means those are the things that come together to make a whole.
That's right. And the ingredients also include oatmeal and spices. Oatmeal is when you get oats, which are a type of grain, and pound them into powder. We can also use the word oatmeal to talk about the kind of porridge, which is kind of like the rice porridge you get here in Taiwan, but just made of oats and oat powder. So you get that, you get the sheep's organs, you get some spices to kind of flavor it up, and you mix it together. Now, Tom mentioned that haggis is also famous for the way in which it is cooked, or how it is cooked, because haggis is traditionally boiled in a sheep's stomach. So there's another organ. They put all this stuff inside the stomach and then boil it. These days they have special haggis skins to use as well if you don't want to use an actual sheep's stomach. More like a thicker version of a sausage skin kind of thing. It is still boiled, and that's how it is served, with a few potatoes or other root vegetables and usually a dram of whiskey.
Well, I could go for the whiskey, but I'm having trouble imagining how one would boil these ingredients in a sheep's stomach. Of course, the sheep has to be dead and the stomach removed, but wouldn't applying heat to a stomach like that, or the material that's used to make a stomach, cause it to melt or burn or something?
Not too much, because it's kind of like this bag-like material. You can boil it, and it will, if you do it at the right temperature and in the right way, it'll remain fine.
Well, I guess if you're going to have haggis, you should have it the real way and have it boiled in a sheep's stomach. So yeah, when in Scotland, check this out. Don't pass it up. And let's move on now to the next paragraph here. Again, we're talking about other things that are famous in Scotland. The first paragraph talked about some of the food, and you did mention the whiskey there. I'm sure lots of people want to head up to the distilleries there to check out some single malt whiskey or something like that.
That is absolutely right. Scotland is the biggest whiskey producing country in the world, so you definitely want to have some of their good stuff. But another equally renowned or famous item in Scottish culture is the kilt. Okay, the kilt is explained in the next sentence. It is a garment or kind of item of clothing. It's a kind of skirt, and it's worn by Scottish men. So a lot of people, they think, Scotland, the guys wear those long kind of colourful skirts. They're not skirts, they are kilts. They are a traditional piece of clothing dating back hundreds of years. Well, that's what we call them. They are kilts. Don't call them skirts. That's not polite.
Yeah, and also they're just not worn all the time like some people think. think.
Some would.
Ceremonial.
Up in the highlands and in some of the islands, then there are day-to-day wear kilts. But they are mainly worn for formal occasions. So weddings, balls, big parties, graduation. When I graduated in Scotland, a large number of my friends were in their formal kilts. I've been to weddings where people have worn kilts. So anything that's a formal occasion, a formal event where people are dressing up well, going to an occasion to celebrate something or something like that, that is an occasion. And the Scots also tend to wear their kilts at sporting events. So Scottish football, rugby, other games where Scotland's teams are playing teams from other countries, they wear the kilt because it's one of their national garments and their national items of clothing, and it shows pride. It says, yes, we are the Scots, here we are in our kilts, our team's going to beat your team and we're going to sing louder than your fans.
Cool. And of course, the kilts come in different patterns, which we'll come to later in this paragraph. So again, as you said, it's a garment, a piece of clothing, it's a kind of skirt, and Scottish men wear them on formal occasions and at sporting events as well. And it is usually worn with something called a sporran. Did I say that right?
That is right, yeah, sporran.
Okay, so that's probably the only place you're going to see this word. And this is a fur or leather pouch that serves in place of pockets. So because you're wearing a kilt, you don't have pockets to put your wallet in or your loose change or maybe your cell phone or something like that. So you need to wear this thing called a sporran, which is made out of fur and leather, and it's kind of like a pouch, which is like a small container, like a kangaroo has a pouch for its baby to be inside of. And this is in place of pockets. In place of means it replaces the pockets because you just don't have pockets in kilts.
That's right. And it's worn right at the front of the kilt. So when you see people in a kilt, you'll see this kind of furry thing just below the waist. That is the sporran. Part of the traditional Scottish dress as well includes thick stockings, that's long socks that go up to the knee, and a ceremonial knife. Okay, so they have a small knife. It's not sharp, it's not for fighting, it's ceremonial. It's kind of part of the dress, part of what you wear to a ceremony. Ceremonial is the adjective related to ceremony, so it's not supposed to be for cutting people or for fighting with or for even cutting food. It probably was once, but now it's just part of the outfit, this knife. There is a Scottish name for it, which I've forgotten, but you'll often see that, and that's in the stocking.
Very good. So you can bet that the Scottish are among the most well-dressed people in the world. Okay, we'll continue talking about the kilt in just a second, but right now we're going to take a break. But stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hello everyone, my name is Tina. 昨天我们介绍了许多苏格兰美丽的风景，在这里的第一句提到Scotland's scenery may be stunning, but it's not the only thing that appeals to visitors. 当然咯，它的景色非常的美丽 ，stunning 也就是有令人惊艳的意思，但是它却不是唯一吸引游客的事物。我们用了 appeal to 就是代表有吸引力或者是迎合爱好的意思。举例来说 The puppet show will appeal to children. 这个布偶的表演呢，将会吸引小孩子。而当然这个动词 appeal 再加上 ing appealing 也就是有吸引人的意思。第一段里面介绍的一个菜肴叫做 haggis， 称为肉馅羊肚。我们在第一段的最后一句看到 It is comprised of sheep's heart, liver and lungs mixed with oatmeal and spices, and is traditionally boiled in a sheep's stomach. 在这里的 be comprised of 由什么组成，可以看到有这个羊心、羊肝、羊肺，还混合了 oatmeal 燕麦片以及很多的 spices 辛香料，这是它的菜肴的特色。接着提到苏格兰，一定要提到苏格兰短裙，我们英文称之为 kilt。在第二段的第二句提到This garment, a kind of skirt, is worn by Scottish men on formal occasions, as well as to show national pride at sporting events. 苏格兰裙呢是一种裙子， a garment 指的就是服装的统称。他们什么时候穿呢？当然是 on formal occasions。Occasion 指的就是重大的活动或者是场合，搭配的介系词是 on。 除了在正式的场合之外呢，你如果想要在 sporting events 在这样的运动赛事中展现出你的民族自豪感的时候，也会穿着苏格兰短裙。
We're going to take a short break now, but please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, let's continue with our lesson. Again, we're talking about Scottish dress, the garments that they wear, mostly on formal occasions. We talked about the kilts. We also talked about the sporran, which goes with the kilt, and the stockings, and the ceremonial knife. But let's get back to this kilt here. Again, the kilt, or that skirt that the men wear, has a tartan, or pattern of stripes that can identify which clan or other association the wearer belongs to. So again, this word here, tartan, is only used to refer to kilts. I've never heard it used any other place. And again, that refers to that different pattern, which is usually like a plaid pattern.
That's right, yes.
P-L-A-I-D, plaid. And that's a pattern of stripes that go up and down and left and right. And they've got different colored squares and different
diagonal
sizes.
Kind of things as well going on.
Right, and I think I only recognize the Royal Stuart one. I think that's most commonly used in different kinds of clothes all over the world. But there are different clans up there in Scotland, and supposedly my grandfather was a member of a Scottish clan as well. I can't remember which one it was, but in any case, they all have their different unique patterns.
That's right, and as do associations. It's kind of broadened from the clans. A clan is a group of people who are kind of related by ties of either marriage or family or area association. So different clans would be called things, as Tom mentioned, the Stuarts would have been a clan, the Campbells, the McAllisters, a lot of different clans in different parts and areas of Scotland, their traditional lands. And they can also have tartans for universities, for army regiments, for other things. So that's why we say they can show belonging to an association, which is another way of saying a group or an organization or some other people with a particular connection. So, yeah, some university colleges or universities themselves have their own tartan pattern, which says you've belonged to that group.
And they probably have their own crests and seals as well.
Things like that,
to indicate the clans and the associations, etc. Pretty cool. You could probably spend a lot of time trying to memorize all those different patterns and tartans and stuff like that. Well, let's go to the capital city of Scotland, Edinburgh. Is that how you say it?
That is correct, yes. Edinburgh. It looks more like Berg, and I've heard Americans pronounce it Edinburgh, but it's Edinburgh is the pronunciation.
Well, I learned how to pronounce it watching Monty Python when I was a kid. But in any case, if you're walking around Edinburgh, which is the capital of Scotland, you might happen to see a man in a kilt playing a kind of musical instrument that looks like an octopus and sounds like a band of singing cats. Yeah, I guess I could see that, especially in my neighborhood when the stray cats start to fight. It does sound kind of like this musical instrument.
Yeah, it is a kind of a screeching sound, and if you get the sound of the bagpipes wrong, it is kind of terrible, and it does look odd because it's got a bag and then it's got these long pipes that kind of stick out behind a person as they've got one pipe in their mouth. But these are the Great Highland Bagpipes, so the name kind of gives it away. There is a bag and there are pipes, okay? They're played by blowing, controlling the air, and then opening up these different pipes to give out different sounds. There are different kinds of bagpipes. There are Irish type types of bagpipes as well as Scottish ones. These ones are the Great Highland bagpipes. They're probably the ones that you would associate with Scotland. So when you think of Scottish music, Scottish marching, you've probably seen them in films. Those are the Great Highland bagpipes. And when they're played well, they can stir the hearts or kind of move the emotions of even people like myself who are not Scottish.
Exactly. And we call them bagpipes in the plural because, as Pat said, there are several pipes as part of one instrument. So they're the bagpipes. And bagpipes are a very common musical instrument in the Middle East as well, I understand. But yes, if you hear them played, you'll go, oh, wow, that sounds so cool. And they were often used in battle and for marches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and heartbreaking laments. Lament in this particular case is when you express grief or sorrow, probably because someone has died or your country lost the war or something like that, or you failed the entrance examination to your preferred university. This might produce a rather heartbreaking song for you.
That's right. We can also use the word lament to actually talk about a type of song, like a sad song about something. So these bagpipes were used in war. They were used to get the clans ready for battle or to march. And they were rousing, which means they made people want to march and they put bravery in their hearts, that kind of thing, as they were marching along to battle. But there is a lot of sadness in them, songs of defeat, songs of loss. So they're laments. Right, let's move on to something a little more cheerful, staying in Edinburgh. And the article says the best time to be in Edinburgh is in the summer. In August, in fact, during the Edinburgh International Festival, which kind of starts in July. Some of these different festivals runs all the way through August because it's not just one single festival.
Exactly. So they've got all sorts of different events during this time. This collection of over 20 different art events celebrates everything from jazz music to books. So they've got all sorts of stuff going on here, not just with music, not just with art, but we've got books there as well.
Yeah, movies and food and different international cultures all get celebrated as part of what's going on.
Sounds like a great time to be there, but a horrible time to find a hotel reservation.
Not easy, no. You've got to book ahead.
Yeah, or have friends or something like that. Maybe they've got campgrounds there or something. You can bring a tent.
That's right. Yeah, there's a lot of parks there and they'll rent some of those out.
In the summertime, it won't be so cold. But again, we've got 20 different art events going on. If you're into jazz, check that out. If you're into reading, hey, they might have some new novels there. It also includes the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, which draws street performers, actors, and comedians from all over the world. So here it's the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. Fringe just means kind of on the outside of something. We could say that Shenkeng is at the fringes of Taipei City.
That's right. Now, this name came from the fact that when the first festival was started, a group of theatre groups, like 8 different theatre groups, thought, hey, there's stuff going on here, so even though we're not invited, we'll kind of set up anyway, unofficially, and there'll be a lot of people in the city, so they'll come to our shows. So they started out as this unofficial fringe on the outskirts of the main festival, and it's grown, and now it's an official, so even these days, the fringe has its own fringe.
Cool.
Outside that main body of organisation.
The Festival Fringe.
Exactly. And so they have street performers, that's people who perform music or drama or juggling or unicycle or magic tricks on the street. They have actors coming there to put on plays, they have dancers, and they have comedians from all over the world. Comedians are people who tell jokes professionally. It is their job to entertain people with funny stories, with amusing songs, with witty kind of just one-line jokes, or by telling long, funny jokes. Lots of different types of comedy. A lot of famous comedians, of course, on TV you can see telling their jokes and having fun. And a lot of them, even from other parts of the world, come to Scotland to perform here, because if you win at the Fringe, if you get an award, or if you get noticed, that's going to really help your career take off.
So if you're a comedian, a budding comedian, head to Edinburgh at this time of year. That's about 5 months from now, so you've got plenty of time to plan ahead. And we're going to wrap things up here with the last sentence. It says, with all this and more to offer, it's no wonder Scotland is visited by millions of tourists every year. So because we've got all these things there to check out, it's not surprising that millions of tourists go there every year. Again, make your reservations early.
Okay, we're going to hand over to the Chinese teacher right now for a few more moments. Then we'll be back to wrap things up.
接着我们来看到 The kilt has a tartan or pattern of stripes that can identify which clan or other association the wearer belongs to. 在这个苏格兰短裙呢，它有着 tartan 指的就是方格的花纹，或者我们称之为 pattern of stripes。 stripe 就是条纹，你会发现这些条纹有它特定的图案，这样的图案呢是可以 identify 让你辨明 which clan or other association。 clan 有家族或者是宗族的意思，而 association 则是有工会协会，像是我们常常听到的教师协会就可以说 Teachers Association。 你只要看这些 tartan， 你就可以知道穿的人他是 belongs to， 是属于哪一个家族或者是其他的团体了。再来我们要看到的是它的乐器，就是我们常常所听到的苏格兰高地风笛。在第3段中间的句子提到 These are the great Highland bagpipes, and when played well, they can stir the hearts of even non-Scots with their battle tunes, rousing marches and heartbreaking laments. 在这里呢，我们知道这个风笛 when played well， 请同学要注明一下 played 在这里把主词 they 跟 be 动词 are 给省略掉，所以 played 是 VPP 表示被动，表示这些风笛呢，如果可以被弹奏演奏得宜的时候，它可以激励人心。我们用了 stir 这个动词， stir 有激起情绪或者是鼓动的意思。举个例子来说 The news stirred him to action， 这样的消息促使他采取了行动。而听到这个风笛的声音呢，可以 stir the hearts of even non-Scots， 就算呢你不是苏格兰人，听到这样子的音乐也可以激起感动你的心情。而他所演奏的有可能是 battle tunes， 可能是战斗的曲调。Rousing marches， 这里的 march 是进行曲的意思，甚至是令人心碎的 laments， 则是有哀悼痛哭曲的意思。最后一个我们要谈到的就是非常有名的爱丁堡国际艺术节，在这里称之为 The Edinburgh International Festival。在最后一段中间提到 It also includes the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, which draws street performers, actors, and comedians from all over the world. 在爱丁堡的国际艺术节期间，最重要的就是这个爱丁堡的国际艺穗节。 Fringe 就是有穗状物的意思。逗号补充说明 which 这样子的艺穗节呢，可以吸引了这些来自世界各地的街头表演者、演员或者是喜剧演员。在这里的 draw 则是有吸引、招来的意思。OK， 以上就是今天的课文讲解，谢谢收听。
Okay, so that is the end of our article. We hope you've got an interest in Scotland and you've thought to yourself after reading and listening to that, hey, I want to go there too. And you should. It's a fantastic place. I would happily go back anytime.
I would too. I think I'm going to go there actually to learn to play the pipes. That would be pretty cool. So that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. Thank you for joining us, and please join us again next time. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Pat. We'll
Goodbye.
talk to you again. Bye.